Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Rymir and Coley, and I'm so glad to be here today. Happy Sunday, everybody. I know it's been a minute. I think I was on a few days ago, but I wanted to get on to talk to you about some great things going on, everybody. I mean, exciting. It's so good to be among the land of the living. For real, everybody. The main thing I wanted to talk about today is Tori's coming home. Yay! Tori's coming home, everybody. Tory Lanez, we know is coming home. We believe it. We know the system's going to work because one, everybody sees the system. And if you kind of can know, I'm not saying read, but if you kind of can read and get to know certain things about the system, that the system is pretty much consistent, which is why people try to keep it hidden and behind the scenes. But you can't do that when you have fraud. You can't do that when things are not right. So we're so glad that there was some fraud in his case. We're not glad it was fraud in his case, but we're glad that he caught the fraud and now he can expose it. Sounds so similar to our case in both California and New Jersey. We're just excited though, everybody, for Tory, and we're glad that he's going to be coming home. And we're going to speak the prophecy. We're going to believe that the system's going to work and it's going to go through the process. The system's going to work and it's going to go through the process. So at the end of the day, just imagine yourself being in jail for something that you know is fraud because folk might have finagled and paid people and all that. But he had a God and he had a father who believed in God, who stood the ground on what is right. And lo and behold, righteousness and right is going to win. And it will win if you push forward. You got to push forward with it, though. You can't let people bully you into what they think is going to happen because that's not going to happen, everybody. So, looking at our cases, we have our cases going on. We have new legislation. We did this new legislation, I want to say back in 2018, because Rhonda was still here with us. And we were doing this new legislation called Legal Abuse Prevention Act. And for those who don't know, being a part of a long-lasting case in New Jersey and now California, California is dealing with the damages. New Jersey is where it all kind of started. Nonetheless, the new legislation came from out of the fact that there was a mother who came forth to identify who the father of her child was. And because of the person being, at the time, there wasn't a high profile, but became a high profile over time, there became a lot of crazy stuff that happened, as it looks, with his attorneys. Nonetheless, as the gatekeepers, the attorneys supposed to be the gatekeepers, they did a lot of stuff they weren't supposed to do. And they allowed it to go on and on and on and on. Nonetheless, new legislation came out of that. And for those of you who don't know, I think I want to put it up. Legislation is something that is to help mothers and fathers too, anybody who feels that they're being legally abused. You know who you are. When you've been in the system and something has happened and something's happened over and over again, this is kind of where we are right now. I feel for me, I'm going through what they call Me Too legal abuse. I'm telling y'all, this is a long time to be in something and to see a lot of things that are unlawful take place. Nonetheless, that's why we have a court system, and we are going to do it in the court system where the court system is true to itself, and some court systems ain't, and they got to stop, right? So we're going to be exposing some things about what's been going on in the Pro Se Legal Abuse Prevention Act, and what it does basically is protects or puts guardrails up so that people like you and I, whether we have an attorney or not attorney, whether the attorney is sick or not sick or just died or whatever the case may be, that you would still have a fair due process. And in our case, as you know we don't believe we did. We didn't have no due process. Our concerns and situations was all procedure. It was not merits. We never got to the merits of the case. Nonetheless, because of these circumstances and situation, the Pro Se Legal Abuse Act has come to pass. And we had 8 governors that were helping. Now we have 10, everybody. That's why I was so busy this past week. It was 10 governors. 2 of them came on board this past week. We obviously can't divulge those persons right now, but we want you to look at what we have. Look at the Legal Abuse Act, Prevention Act. It's a draft that can be attached to an existing legislation and preventing problems when people come forth about their paternity issues or whatever the case may be, and or in this case, paternity issues. But nonetheless, Legal Abuse Act, when people are not getting the due process as well, is what I'm trying to get at, because we were way from paternity stuff. We were into the fact that we couldn't even get past the first base, which was procedure, which would be due process when there was a conflict of the facts and dispute of the facts. And then we didn't talk about it. We didn't do none of that, right? So we want to be able to have legislation in place and have mothers and fathers who feel like they're in a vulnerable situation to make sure they're heard and that they're treated fairly. That's all this really boils down to. It will be either in the family court or either the civil law. And y'all know we had cases in both, right? But they are governed by two different sets of laws, and you can't mix the two. So no matter how hard you try and want to do it, it ain't going to work, right? So nonetheless, here we are doing what we're doing. We have the two more governors. We want you to look at the Pro Se Legal Abuse Act. It's just a draft. Talk to your governor, talk to your local officials, and ask them to please consider it. And we'll talk about what we need to talk about offline if you have people who might be interested in regard to attaching it or making a new legislation, so that when people have concerns or problems when it comes down to either family court, civil court, or their child, period, something they're doing related to their paternity in this case, they're not brushed off. And especially when the mother is underage, y'all. When the mother underage, the attorneys need to be doing something, don't you think? So here we have another situation with the age of the mom. That's a whole nother ball game. But just on a normal tip, you want any mother or father to be able to come into the court and be able to have the rightful laws that go along, or the procedures as well, to carry out whatever they're asking, if it's lawful. That's all I'm saying. And we want to make sure guardrails like that is in place. So that's mainly the two things I wanted to talk about. It was Tory coming home, because he's coming home. His hearing starts tomorrow. I think the appeal process, and we all kind of know some things about that. And we're also praying, because we know that his father spoke the word, everybody. His father spoke the word, everybody. And when you speak the word against somebody or about your child, God hears it. Don't get me started. So at the end of the day, he's coming home. It's been spoken. We accept it. We believe it. We're walking in it. The law is on his side. And we thank God that the fraud there will be exposed as well. All that other noise, anybody thinking about it? When the camel come home, when the roosters come home, you're going to see what the real deal is. And then we have the new legislation. And I said, if you have governors and know people that are in some sort of politics, that be willing to look at the new legislation, you're going to have it. We're going to make sure we put it up for you, that you will get in touch with us. There's a little team doing this, and they're doing pretty good. We have actually more than 10 governors, but some of the other ones has been hard to kind of run them down since we've been doing it for a while. But we do have some locked in. So that's a beautiful thing. And we're going to be doing our little tour with that, trying to make sure that that's pushed and that agenda is not lost. And then, of course, we're going to tell our story. We're going to tell our own story, how we've been through. And I called it Metoo legal abuse, because I felt like what I went through was not lawful. It was not normal, and it was not right. And here I was, someone who didn't have any biological children, and was trying to do what I could do for my godson, who became my legal child when he was a minor, based on the guardianship of his mother. Then I kind of got a feel, but I didn't think it was a big deal at the time, because he was older. I didn't know all this was going to happen, y'all. Nonetheless, here we are today, experiencing something that happened in the court, was very egregious, ugly, and nasty. And you all need to know that this is not the way America runs. You need to know that. So we're here to talk about it, because we need to talk about it. And the new legislation is going to help us with that. So thank you so much for all your support and love. We are going to continue to march on and walk on to see what the end's going to be, because we know it's going to be good. And like tomorrow going to be good too, because we have justice that's going to be served. There's other justices around the country. We're praying also for other people, justices not Desiree, but Demori Hadley and her husband for their justice. We're praying for Nicki Minaj for her justice. The things that we know that maybe something ain't right because maybe the other people are trying to do something real nasty and egregious that's not normal, because you don't need to go down that road if the law's on your side. I mean, what's the point? The law's on your side. What you doing? Why are you doing it? Right? So at the end of the day, we are praying and sending good vibes that way. And we're believing that all things are going to work together for our good and God's glory. Be encouraged, everybody. I'll be back to talk with you guys real soon. I wanted to get on to make sure I did some videos with this in that regard. And I will be talking to you guys real soon because we have some great stuff coming up. We're excited. There are some good, exciting things happening, and there is nothing going to be able to stop it. We thank God for all of you. The support we've been getting and all the direction has been extremely helpful. And now we have this piece where we're really pushing our legislation. We've got two great, huge doors that just opened up this past week. And we know we've got some more weeks, some more doors opening in the next coming weeks as we're trying to navigate our schedules and all that kind of good stuff. But thank you so much. Look forward to talking with you soon. This is Dr. Rymir and Coley. This is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. Thanks, everybody.